Alright, Machine Vendetta by Alastair Reynolds. I believe this is the third and I believe final of the Prefect Dreyfus emergencies set in Alastair Reynolds' Revelation Space universe. I didn't really like this one. Not that I didn't like it, but I don't think it was as well written as the other ones. I mean, it's bold of me to make claims like that about as authors that are published, but I really like Alastair Reynolds. I still think he's my favorite sci-fi author of all time, and so maybe that lets me be a bit more critical of him. Part of it could have been that I didn't really want to read this one. It took me a while to get into. I was like, didn't really want to read a sci-fi, but anyways, but I did. And it's right off the bat, it starts out discussing events that had happened previous to the story that made me almost feel like I missed a book. Like, it was kind of confusing, and stuff that was explained by the end of the book, I still, not that I don't have a good grasp on it, but I don't think it was laid out in a way that sort of set up a mystery and evoked sort of a sense of, ooh, wonder what happened. It was more of a, wait, did I miss something? What are they talking about, these characters in this event that I don't know about? So we had the two books, Aurora Rising, where the AI intelligence Aurora and the Clockmaker ended up sort of existing throughout the glitter bands, this 1,000 habitats that circle the hub world of Yellowstone. And then they sort of made brief appearances in Elysium Fire. And then we have this book which kind of wraps up their story, but in a very strange way. I don't even know how to go through the plot. It's all about this person, Ingvar Tench. The names in this one are wild. So we have Ingvar Tench, we have Aristarchus Salazar. Like, I'm expecting an Armin Tamzarian to pop out. So Ingvar Tench, who before this book had been set up, apparently was tasked by Dreyfus. So Dreyfus is sort of this cop, this police officer, this prefect working for Panoply, the policing agency that ensures everyone has the right to vote in the Glitter Band. She had been tasked by Dreyfus to shut down Catopsis. I think that's what it's called. This program that Panoply had initiated to try and capture the two rogue AIs, the Clockmaker and Aurora, who had, because of this stalemate and the two of them battling out, neither was a threat. However, eventually, if one won out, there would be a threat. So they had this program to try and capture the two AI. But the issue was, if they captured one before the other, then the other would take over the whole Glitter Band. So it was a problem. So Ingvar Tench had been set a task by Dreyfus to shut this down, unbeknownst to Panoply. He had been given this task by Aurora. So in Elysium Fire, Aurora, one of the two intelligences, had sort of made a deal with Dreyfus and helped Dreyfus out in exchange for help. So Dreyfus is kind of like a mole on the inside, unwillingly kind of being blackmailed into helping Aurora, which no one knows about. So anyways, all this apparently happened before the book, in between the two books. And the book opens with Ingvar Tench being killed in a habitat. And it turns out that, and then there's this other crisis, that there's some conflict between hyperpigs and humans, a lot of racial tension. So hyperpigs are these people who they were originally created as sort of like a mix of humans and pigs to sort of create better organs for human transplant, but then they became sentient and sort of became their own sort of species. I don't know if that's nice to say. Anyways, so this one guy, so Ingvar Tench was getting close to shutting this whole thing down, and then, but due to some mix-up, someone else took her ship out and set off this chain reaction when his ship went rogue and attacked a different habitat and then was blown up. That set off this whole pig-human tension thing. again, these are all events that are just sort of hinted at, that are ongoing, but have nothing to do with the main plot, except as tiny little pieces, puzzle pieces, or little connecting dots leading to the whole plot. It's very confusing. Anyway, so they're trying to figure out why Ingvar Tench died. That's sort of the start of the mystery. And they Sparver, who is a pig, who is Dreyfus's like right hand man, his protege, his best friend. They go out and investigate a whole slew of places that Tench had gone to try and figure out like why'd she die, what was she investigating, what went wrong. Oh geez. So they come across this habitat that when they go in it, Sparver goes in it alone and something triggers and sets it in motion. It was booby trapped basically, and it ends up being annihilated. I'm not going to go into details, and Sparver ends up dying, which was kind of a shock to me, especially in the way that he died. I was waiting for him to come back or something. But anyways, he died, but he managed to capture some evidence of what's going on inside this habitat. And through a big series of events, this evidence took forever to get back to Dreyfus. And it was only revealed like 3/4 of the way through the book. But it had huge implications for the whole thing. And the more I think about it, I don't think this is a great book. So they think that has something to do with the main... I don't even know what the main problem in this book is, because there's so many different issues. They're dealing with Tench's death. They're dealing with this catopsis thing. They're dealing with the moles inside of Panoply. They're dealing with this Krennic Mitzler thing, where it's pig versus human racial tensions are sparking terrorist attacks with the Glitterband. But it turns out that they have no... It was all not a false flag, but just a mix-up that they had to spin a certain way, and I don't know. Anyways, the main thing of the whole story is that Aurora, using... I don't know, maybe some of the information she got when Dreyfus gave in and gave her access to the search turbines, basically the servers in Panoply. Aurora has come up with this plan to finally defeat the clockmaker and sort of take over the Glitterband. And she does this by secretly restarting Catopsis, but on her own terms. So they don't realize they're working for her, but a sort of a black ops section of Panoply, or a section outside of Panoply, starts to do this program again to try and capture the two artificial intelligences, but it's all run by Aurora. Aurora allows herself to seemingly be captured, but it's only sort of a copy of her. When that copy gets captured in this one habitat that's like an industrial recycling habitat, the clockmaker thinks, oh, wow, they captured Aurora, I'm free now. But the clockmaker's also slowly being captured, but there's a bit of a time delay. Aurora's fully captured first, so the clockmaker has full control, and for whatever reason creates a whole bunch of humanoid robot forms of itself, much like it had before it was uploaded, before it was an uploaded intelligence. And they sort of run wild throughout this habitat, just slaughtering and killing people. So I don't know if I made the connection or the reference in the first book when we saw more of the clockmaker, but in this one, the clockmaker is very much the Shrike from Hyperion. Just like I don't know. That seems like it's that character. Anyway, so the Shrike, the clockmaker is running rampant throughout the habitat, killing lots of people. And Aurora's like, ha ha ha, it was all a plan. Now I'm going to blow up this habitat, and that will eliminate the clockmaker, which she does. And so now Aurora is totally has control over the whole Glitterband, and immediately starts blackmailing it, and messing with people, and she's a tyrant that rules the whole Glitterband for a moment. Meanwhile, Dreyfus. I do like Dreyfus's portrayal in this one. he in the first book, Aurora Rising, he's very much like an old veteran police officer. But by this one, there's multiple references to how sort of close to retirement he is, how old and like fat and flabby he is, how his like neck fat's always pinching on his collar, and it really paints a picture of like, this isn't like your sexy middle-aged cop who's seen it all. He's like just an old man. Anyways, Dreyfus, he's still a brilliant cop, but you do start to see some of his failings in this one, but he's still like the best of the best. He had gotten contact with this woman Halfdis, who was the daughter of Ingvar Tench, and brought her to Panoply because she was like, I want to follow in my mother's footsteps and be a prefect. Anyways, it turns out that the information Sparver had found in this habitat in which he was killed was that the habitat was a recreation of the childhood home of Aurora, and that Aurora's family, when she was uploaded to when she became an AI, they felt bad about it because supposedly it went wrong and all the people uploaded died. Aurora, of course, is the only one who survived, but she's secretly. So her family felt awful, so they cloned Aurora, raised her in this habitat so that she would basically be another Aurora, and then kind of felt weird about it and guilty, so they put her on ice and hibernated her. And then Ingvar Tench, while she was investigating Catopsis and Aurora and all that, came across this and thought, okay, this could be a potential I could use against Aurora, and so raised Halfdis as her own, gave her a new set of... No, she didn't give her a new set of memories. But she sort of taught her, like, hey, you are the clone of this AI Aurora. We could somehow maybe use you against her if we ever need to. And so that's what Halfdis does. She, the whole time she's like really weirdly interested in Jane, the Supreme Prefect, and really weirdly interested in the Clockmaker. And at first I thought like she's a bad guy, or like she's really like impolitely asking all this information. Like, why are they giving it to her? And then I thought, well, maybe she's going to be like a replacement for Jane, because she will be the new Supreme Prefect and sort of replace Jane. I thought that's where they were going with it. But in the end, Aurora's taken over the whole glitter band, and their solution to it, which it doesn't really make sense to me, is that it makes sense, but it doesn't. Anyways, Halfdis agrees to put this mechanism on the back of her neck, the same one Jane had for 11 years. It's a device made by the Clockmaker that if anyone got close to her, if she fell asleep or anything, it would instantly kill her. So Jane had sort of lived 11 years without sleep and without human contact. That was in the first book. Halfdis's plan is she puts this thing on her neck, but they program it so it's not if she comes in contact with humans or she falls asleep, it goes off, but if they detect Aurora. So Aurora's spread out throughout the entire glitter band, but due to latency, she can't ignore physics. Due to latency between networks, they can actually detect her presence. As soon as any of her presence is detected, it will instantly kill Halfdis. So their plan is they go and show Aurora, like, look, we have the human version of you, what you could have been. This is what you lost, your humanity. Sure, you have total control over the whole glitter band now and everything you ever wanted, but you either have to delete yourself or leave the system, because any action you do once this thing starts up will kill Halfdis, who is like you. And if you have any humanity in you and you want to preserve this version of yourself, then you will leave. And I don't think Aurora would go along with it. I think she'd be like, I don't care. That's not me. That's a clone of me with my, like, not even my memories. Even if it did have her memories, like, I don't think Aurora would be like, okay, I will give up my plan. Like, Aurora has killed hundreds of thousands of people at this point. I don't think she cares about. But anyways, this is supposedly Hail Mary works, and Aurora either disappears the system. We don't know what happens to Aurora. Yeah. The only saving grace for this book was I thought the ending was very beautiful. The just sort of Dreyfus's ending. So he goes to his wife, and who has been, anyways, his wife, because of actions he took in the first place to save her from the clockmaker and to sort of capture the clockmaker. His wife has lost the ability to communicate. She's had lots of brain damage, so she's been in this sort of hospice habitat for a long time. He goes to his wife, and because of a favor he did for the Ultras, the sort of subset of humanity who traverses interstellar space, he gets passage on one of their ships for the two of them, and they're going to go off to another planet, specifically one with the pattern jugglers, who in this universe are like a weird microbial hive mind alien species that exists in these planets, that are these ocean planets. And if you go and swim in the seas of the pattern jugglers, they can mess with your brain patterns, and sometimes they can repair their brain patterns, sometimes they can alter them so people can sort of see things differently. It's kind of a crapshoot, but that's his plan. He's going to go off and hopefully help his wife, and they'll live happily ever after. So that was beautiful, but specifically how he does it. So he doesn't announce, all right, everyone, I'm leaving, I quit, I'm done. He just quietly leaves. He goes and gets a little ship and says, yeah, I'm gonna go help with whatever, and they just let him go because he's constantly going off and doing all kinds of stuff. And these prefects never sleep, they never rest. They are workaholics to the extreme, very unhealthy. Anyway, so he just goes off, gets his wife, and leaves. And at the same time, Jane's having a meeting with all the superior, all the sort of head prefects. She's like, we gotta get Dreyfus on this. Where is Dreyfus anyway? And Dreyfus is gone at that point. So that was kind of a beautiful send-off. And I assume this will be the last one in the trilogy. I mean, Dreyfus, they could bring him back for one last job, but he'd be super old by then. And especially if he's traveling to interstellar space, like, I don't think the timeline would work out. By the time he could ever possibly get back to the Yellowstone system, he would be... so much time had passed, it would be right into the Revelation space era with the melding plague and all that. But maybe we'll have different... I guess it wouldn't be part of the Prefect Dreyfus emergencies, because it wouldn't be Prefect Dreyfus, but maybe we'll have something with Thalia, who is sort of inherits his position as one of the best field prefects by the end of this book. I didn't talk about what Thalia does in this book, but she does a lot of stuff. Anyways, I'm glad I read it, but I really think it was the weakest. I think the best was the prefect slash Aurora Rising, its new name, which was like 15 years ago or more that it came out, and these next two in this series got progressively weaker, in my opinion. But I still love Alastair Reynolds, and I love the Revelation Space universe. It's a great one. So that was Machine Vendetta.